degrees Celsius, but there are years that we have some variations, either up or a little bit below that. If you move to the middle sector too, they also have +1 or 2 in terms of the increase in the temperatures over their area. Likewise, Greater Accra. But most of the time, what normally contributes is how we are closer to the sun, and then also the water bodies that we find ourselves surrounded with. Once there is evaporation and it's water vapor, we know it is the heat that is generating that water vapor, and so we have the heat in there. So also add up to it to make the environment a little bit uncomfortable for us.
Studies show that 3 main types of flooding happen as a result of rainfall. These are pluvial flooding, known as surface water floods, fluvial flooding or river floods, and coastal flooding, often caused by storm surges.
And those are major floods we have within our sector in Ghana. But there are other forms. Somebody will say coastal flood, somebody will talk about urban flood. But urban flood is almost like the flash flood. And it happens normally when the surface is paved and then you don't have enough drainage system. And so the water is available on the surface to cause flood. And then, of course, the sea level rise, where there's a lower coast, the sea level rises a bit and inundates the coast that is nearby. And of course, there are rivers that overflow their brink. We just remembered the recent, Volta River.
We have the water bodies that we all know, the lakes, the streams, the ocean. We have them, as the sun heats, they evaporate. It goes into the atmosphere and then it forms clouds. Once the clouds are matured, it starts to fall as rain. And if it falls as rain, we have some that percolate into the soil and then go into the underground water table. And then we have some that comes as runoff that we all know that some results into floods. All these things also go back into the oceans or the river band, or the rivers and the streams that we have.
Ghana experiences flood disasters every year, resulting in loss of lives and property. In urban areas like Accra and Kumasi, floods are triggered by seasonal rainfall, and it is predicted that flood risk will get worse as rainfall classified as heavy is projected to increase between 2010 and 2050.
Three major you would be hearing of: the north, the Wotin Basin, and then the Greater Accra. But Kumasi has emerged a lot, and it comes with so many economic challenges. And sometimes the economic loss is not just the money, but the time that people would have to be relocated, people would have to, even the socio-economic cost, the stress, the emotion. All this, if you want to quantify them, is a lot of loss to the people of Ghana.
Every year comes with variations when it comes to the rainy season, likewise the dry season. Last year too, we also had the dust all over the country. Visibilities were less than 200 meters over most areas. But then this year, some areas reported 100 meters. And this case was in foggy conditions, not with the dust alone. So we have variations. So definitely, if you say the first share of the climate change or the climate variability, it has been with us every year. And this year, the rainfall season will still have its first share.
The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, report indicates that between 2015 and 2020, Ghana recorded 1,446 flood events, which caused 309 injuries and 510 deaths, and 54,744 houses being inundated, and the destruction of 136,563 acres of farmlands. Between 1970 and 2019, Africa recorded economic losses of around $38.5 billion due to floods and storm disaster.
We all had a common attribute of climate vulnerability. We are all suffering from the effects of climate change, and we all have had telling effects of climate effects on our economies.
The scientists have disclosed that climate change could cause more earthquakes and volcanic eruptions by increasing the weight of water on the Earth's crust. When glaciers melt, the water can seep into cracks in the Earth's crust, causing them to widen and weaken.
They are not very strong. In terms of strength, they are not. What they rather have is they have plains. And because they have plains, with a little saturation, they slip. And that is the thing we experience up that range. Sometimes you hear that the slopes are filled, and they are even blocking the road. Because as water percolates through these weak zones, it will definitely fail.
People say hurricane intensity, storm tornadoes would increase because of climate change. People also indicate that earthquake, because of the reaction, formation of or the occurrence of climate change, is as a result of some heat. Without heat, earthquake cannot happen, but it indicated that earthquake can also increase.
Statistics show
President Mahama secures AU backing as Ghana gains mandate to champion reparations resolution.